Good, happy Wednesday morning, January 27, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Wednesday morning, so let's begin. First up, we're going to begin with your COVID-19 updates. 4 more Granite Staters die as COVID-19 hospitalizations continue to decline. State health officials see encouraging trends in numbers. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
In your own at-home sauna. Mainly Tubs is offering 10% off all in-stock Finleo saunas. Their best-selling premium far-infrared saunas start at only $75 a month. And
tonight, Phase 1B vaccinations are fully underway in New Hampshire, and there is some encouraging news in long-term care facilities.
There were no new outbreaks at those facilities announced today. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Griffith.
And I'm Jennifer Vaughn. So far, 250,000 people have been registered in Phase 1B. That includes those whose doctors have deemed them medically vulnerable. The state now has 22 sites that will be open for the public to get vaccinated, and appointments have been booked through February.
So now to the current numbers in New Hampshire. There are 435 new cases of COVID-19 today. Active cases are down to 5,400. The 7-day positivity rate at 6.1%. 213 people are currently hospitalized. There are 4 new deaths today, bringing the total deaths to 994.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at COVID-19 in New Hampshire. What you need to know. Let's take a look at that right now. There are 63,172 number of people in New Hampshire have tested positive for COVID-19. 25,386,596 number of people in the United States have tested positive. 994 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 213 current number of hospitalizations for COVID-19 in New Hampshire, and 423,653 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. And let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire where current cases of COVID-19 are. Manchester, 517. Let's take a look at this map of New Hampshire where total cases of COVID-19 are. Manchester, 8,531. And let's take a look at these 3 charts here. Let's start with the first chart here. New cases each day in New Hampshire in the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases, orange new hospitalization, and red deaths. Let's take a look at this chart here. Current cases in the purple, total current COVID-19 cases, orange current hospitalization. Let's take a look at this chart here. Total cases in the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases, orange total hospitalization, red deaths, and blue recovered. Let's take a look at this chart here. Positive PCR test rate, daily positive PCR and antigen test rate, and daily PCR test. Let's take a look at this chart here. Age group of cases and female and male of cases. Let's take a look at this chart here. Infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. And let's take a look at this chart here. Deaths, percent of New Hampshire population, race/ethnicity of cases, and hospitalizations. And a reminder, common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, chills, difficult breathing, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. How it spreads, and prevention tips. And be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. State officials expect vaccine shipments to increase as early as next week. COVID-19 vaccination appointments could be added as more doses received. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
warm, healthy, and rejuvenated in your own at-home sauna. Mainly Tubs is offering 10% off all in-stock Finleo saunas. Their best-selling premium far-infrared sauna.
The state says nearly 24 vaccination sites like this one in Londonderry will be open for the public. Appointments for Phase 1B now booked through February, but the supply is not keeping up with the demand. Just over 17,000 doses arriving weekly. The governor says that will increase by 16% next week due to a boost in production from Moderna.
We're planning on those to come in. That's a few thousand more next week, hopefully. I think, is it next week? I think it's as early as next week. So we are anticipating that, and we'll simply build that capacity into our system.
On the registration front, some people report not getting a return email to book an appointment or having to sign up at a site far from home. And officials blame a website error for allowing bookings at hospital sites not designated for the public, then getting cancellation notices.
A good percentage were able to go right back in and reschedule. A small percentage were not able to, or they're at the end of the line. So we're calling them back right now to try to work with them to get them back in line where they should have been, so that to try to make it right.
Registration questions are directed to the 211 call center. The state epidemiologist says there are positive trends, slight decreases in cases, hospitalizations, and test positivity rates. Still cautioning 56 Granite Staters died in the past week.
Yes, I am optimistic. We're coming up on 11 months into this pandemic. I think all of us throughout the state are tired of dealing with this, but want to stress again that we can't let our guard down.
Jean Mackin, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Granite Staters concerned about scheduling second dose of vaccine. Many say second appointment schedule months later. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Amy Cavino.
The floor model clearance sale is here. Mainly Tubs is discounting all remaining floor model hot tubs with over 50 to choose from.
Seems like New Hampshire would be able to get my dad in before 53 days out.
From her computer in Exeter, Heather Olson has registered qualified relatives in 3 different states for vaccines. She has feedback for New Hampshire officials about getting the second shot.
I think that they have said 4 to 6 week windows are right, but 53 days is not within a 4 to 6 week window.
Jackie Tardy is in the same boat, anxious that her booster shot appointment isn't until March 13th. She got her first shot January 5th. She's tried the CDC, VMAS, DHHS, and 211.
So you are in limbo right now?
Yeah, I have nobody gives me any answers, and they just each person I call gives me another number to go to.
Is the protection from the vaccine diminished if the booster shot is given outside the recommended window? Officials say there is not a fixed window.
It does not affect the effectiveness in terms of when you get the second dose. The first dose remains very effective, and you can get the second dose. There's a very extended period of time. All indications are that it can be stretched out a little bit.
If you've got your first dose and you're scheduled for your second dose and you've had to schedule out a ways, we'll be able to open up more second dose appointments. We already have plans to do that. We have the capacity to do it. It's just a matter of making sure the timing is right.
Some encouraging news there late this afternoon. Vaccine recipients are also frustrated that in many cases they have to travel much further away from home to get that second shot. Today, the official in charge of logistics said the state will now have 22 sites. Of course, they need to get more vaccine to use them all. Reporting live this evening, Amy Cavino, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Nearly 1,000 healthcare providers joined together to promote COVID-19 vaccine, providing information to ease hesitation. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
Stay warm, warm, healthy, and rejuvenated in your own at-home sauna. Mainly Tubs is offering 10% off all in-stock Finleo saunas. Their best-selling
Dr. Tom Sherman works at Exeter Hospital and is about to receive his second dose of the COVID vaccine.
You have to have immunity against the virus, and that's what the vaccine allows.
He's now joining hundreds of other healthcare workers to spread that message through a grassroots initiative called Healthcare Voices of New Hampshire.
In terms of safety and efficacy, all of us in the medical field are saying, wow, this is really so much more effective than the flu vaccine and other vaccines.
Physicians, nurses, and therapists are sharing stories and providing information to alleviate any potential concerns.
A significant number of our frontline healthcare workers have been vaccinated, and there's been no issues here in the state of people having problems with the vaccine, but there's still a tremendous amount of vaccine hesitancy.
The reason that I can say that this is trusted and that this is safe is because we've had tens of thousands of participants during research on these very vaccines, and we've seen that it's been a positive result.
Providers are encouraging everyone to take the vaccine when it's available to them.
This is an opportunity for us to lean in and do what is necessary in order for our community to be well again.
As the vaccination process continues, physicians are reminding everyone to continue to take precautions against the spread of COVID-19. Reporting in Hooksett, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. No new outbreaks reported at New Hampshire long-term care facilities. 12 more outbreaks closed. Outbreak at New Hampshire Veterans Home closed. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The floor model clearance sale is here. Mainly Tubs is discounting all remaining floor model hot tubs with over 50 to choose from. You'll also receive a free salt.
I'm not opening any outbreaks today, so we're closing 12 and we're not opening any. So definitely a positive trend that we've been looking for over the last several weeks.
DHHS Commissioner Lori Shibinette visibly relieved to announce this positive trend, and the governor believes getting the vaccine into the arms of the long-term care population is connected.
There's no doubt that it's having some effect. Especially a lot of the long-term care facilities that probably received their first dose 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. About 4 or 5 weeks ago now were the first doses. And it does have some positive effects when you get that first dose.
18,000 of the 34,000 in the long-term care population setting have gotten their first dose of the vaccine, and 5,000 have already had their second. That is the numbers of hospitalizations and deaths are falling too.
But that first dose definitely does have some, I think it's just over 50% effectiveness against the virus. So while it doesn't reduce your risk to zero, it is definitely beneficial. And so I think what we're seeing now in terms of the lack of outbreaks, and it's not going to be zero going forward. I mean, we hope it is, but we have to be realistic. It's definitely having some positive effects, especially in the most vulnerable populations.
The governor says Phase 1A and Phase 1B vaccinations will effectively put a protective bubble around that most vulnerable of populations, and that could be completed in May, even sooner, if more vaccine becomes available. Live in Concord, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. U.S. stocks features mixed as Microsoft kicks off big tech earnings on a high note. Features contracts tied to the major U.S. equity indexes were mixed during the overnight session Tuesday as Wall Street pored over earnings results from Microsoft and awaited similar updates from Apple, Facebook, and Tesla due Wednesday. Biden announced purchases of more doses of Pfizer-Moderna vaccine. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
A very busy Tuesday night, a lot to get to tonight. Breaking news coming in right now in the impeachment trial of former President Trump. Senator Patrick Leahy, presiding over the trial, has been hospitalized late today, and what we're learning tonight will go to our team on the Hill. But we're going to begin tonight with President Biden and what he promised late today when it comes to vaccines in this country for millions of Americans waiting for them, saying he hopes to have enough vaccine for 300 million Americans by the end of the summer, ordering another 100 million doses from Pfizer and 100 million doses additional from Moderna. It comes as the global pandemic now reaches a staggering new toll. More than 100 million cases worldwide and more than 2 million dead. Here at home, more than 25 million Americans have now tested positive. That's 1/4 of the total cases worldwide. More than 424,000 lives have been lost here in the U.S. Tonight, President Biden again telling Americans this is a wartime effort requiring, quote, aggressive steps, saying keep the faith, we will get there, and that he will always level with you. Those additional doses from Pfizer and Moderna ordered, but he said it will take time to get them and then get them out. Talking about FEMA helping with mass vaccination sites and hundreds of millions of Americans able to get vaccinated by this summer. Governors welcoming the news tonight, but adding that the rate of the vaccine still is just not fast enough. Long lines tonight in many places across the country. These images from Chula Vista, California. And late today, Vice President Kamala Harris rolling up her sleeve for her second Moderna shot, hoping to reassure Americans and urging them to get the shot when they can. There is also news tonight, new guidance from the CDC on whether to open more schools. And ABC's Stephanie Ramos leading us off.
After weeks of frustration over a slow vaccine rollout and desperate calls for more supply, the president saying help is on the way.
We will both increase the supply in the short term by more than 15% and give our states and local partners more certainty about when the deliveries will arrive.
The Biden administration now promising to buy an extra 100 million doses of both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines for a total of 600 million, enough to vaccinate 300 million Americans by the end of this summer.
We expect these additional 200 million doses to be delivered this summer, and that increases the total vaccine order in the United States by 50%, from 400 million order to 600 million.
The president confirming vaccine supply will ramp up as expected to 10 million doses a week and increase from there. Starting next week, another 1.4 million doses going out.
We'll ensure that states, tribes, and territories will now always have a reliable 3-week forecast on what the supply they're going to get. This is going to help make sure governors, mayors, and local leaders have greater certainty around supply so they can carry out their plans to vaccinate as many people as possible.
Late today, New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo reacting to the president's plan.
We're getting about 16 to 17% more. So at least now we can do a schedule for 3 weeks and we can schedule appointments and start to run on an efficient basis rather than what's been going on.
Millions are already facing long waits, a maze of busy websites, and jammed phone lines.
Trying to get a COVID shot for my 93-year-old father.
Art Silk in Colorado taking to the streets to ask for help finding a vaccine for his father, a 93-year-old World War II veteran.
The pandemic is one thing, it's bad. But the way this thing is being handled is terrible.
His kids finally landing an appointment by searching online in the middle of the night. More than 23 million of the vaccines have been administered, but just under 3.5 million people have received both doses. Liz Scott in Arizona can't schedule a second dose for her parents who are over 75 with underlying health conditions.
There is nothing. I have looked every day at every location, and there is not an appointment available. This is a life or death situation. They have compromised immune systems.
And in some of the hardest hit communities, fewer vaccinations. Black and Latino Americans are nearly 3 times more likely to die of COVID-19. And new data from 16 states revealing blacks are often 2 to 3 times less likely to be vaccinated.
Many people don't have a car to drive to a high volume vaccination center. So where do they go if they don't have a personal or primary care physician? And the answer in many cases is there's nowhere to go.
So let's get right to Stephanie Ramos with us live tonight from the Mega Vaccination Center. This one set up in New Jersey. And Stephanie, we're learning tonight from the CDC there's new guidance out when it comes to the safety of children going back to school.
That's right, David. The study looked at 17 schools where masks were worn and social distancing rules were followed. Even though there was community spread of the virus at the time, researchers found that there wasn't much spread of the virus in schools when those precautions were followed. David.
That was encouraging, too. All right, Stephanie Ramos leading it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.